Dobar dan svima, moje ime je Senada Halilćevic, dolazim iz Zagreba.
Hello, my name is Senada Halilćevic, I come from Zagreb.
Drago mi što sam danas ovdje. Ovo je moj prvi nastup kao predsjednica Evropske platforme samozastupnika u trećem mandatu, kojeg sam dobila u subotu.
Okay, I was just recently voted to be the president of European Platform of Self-Advocates for the third time, and this is my first presentation as being third-time president.
Dolazim iz udruge za samozastupanje, to je prva udruga osoba sa intelektualnim teškoćama koja se bori za svoja prava.
I come from the Association for Self-Advocacy from Zagreb, and the Association for Self-Advocacy is the first association in Croatia founded by people with intellectual disabilities in order for them to be able to stand for their rights.
Ovdje predstavljam Evropsku platformu samozastupnika i Inclusion Europa, koje isto promiču prava osoba sa intelektualnim teškoćama na nivou Evrope.
Here I will talk as a representative of European Self-Advocates and Inclusion Europe. And Inclusion Europe and European Platform of Self-Advocates together advocate for the rights of people with intellectual disabilities in Europe.
Osobe sa intelektualnim teškoćama doživljavaju diskriminaciju u svim područjima života.
Okay, so people with intellectual disabilities experience and are faced with discrimination in many areas of life.
Nemamo jednaki pristup javnim službama koje koriste svi ljudi.
Okay, so people with intellectual disabilities don't have the same access to public services which are used by all other people.
Doživljavamo različite vrsta kršenja naših prava u institucijama, obiteljskim domovima i službama podrške.
We experience various types of abuse of our rights in institutions, foster homes, or even support services.
Nemamo jednaki položaj u obrazovanju.
We are also segregated within education system.
Često ne možemo ostvariti svoja seksualna i reproduktivna prava.
We are often prevented in realizing our sexual or reproductive rights.
Više smo izloženi različitim vrstama nasilja.
We are also exposed and more vulnerable to various types of violence.
Nemamo priliku za zapošljavanje, su mnogo slabiji.
And also the employment opportunities are much weaker for persons with intellectual disabilities.
Često imamo organiziranu mogućnost za slobodno kretanje gradom i raznim prostorijama.
We also often experience reduced possibility of moving freely through cities or various spaces.
Nemamo jednake mogućnost sudjelovanja u političkom životu.
and also we don't have the same opportunities to participate in political life.
Jedna od razloga za ovo je nedostatak pristup informacijama.
One of the main reasons for this is, of course, the lack of accessible information.
Pristupačne informacije nam pomažu da donesemo odluke.
Accessible information helps us to make decisions.
Pristupačne informacije nam pomažu da učimo i zastupamo svoja prava i prepoznajemo diskriminaciju.
Accessible information helps persons with intellectual disabilities to learn about their rights, to defend them, and to recognize discrimination.
Pristupačne informacije daju moć osobama sa intelektualnim teškoćama u odnosu na cijelo društvo.
And most important is that accessible information gives the power to the persons with intellectual disabilities in relation to the whole society.
Pristupačne informacije izvlače ljude iz položaja ovisnosti.
And also, accessible information pulls out people out of the state of dependency.
Inkluzija Evropa je snažno zagovaraju uvođenje lako razumljivih informacija u svim područjima života.
Inclusion Europe and European Platform of Self-Advocates strongly advocate for making information accessible in all areas of life.
Bez pristupačne informacije ne možemo govoriti o svojim pravima, inkluziji i neovisnom životu.
Without accessible information, we cannot talk about our rights, inclusion, or independent living.
Organizacije iz cijele Evrope koriste ove standarde da treniraju stručnjake i naprave lako razumljive informacije zajedno sa samozastupnicima.
Inclusion Europe and EPSA, European Platform of Self-Advocates, have developed standards, European standards for making information easy to read and understand. And these standards are used by organizations all around Europe, and they're professionals, and they are intended to be professionals and produce easy to read information together with self-advocates.
Daću primjere iz Hrvatske, iz moje organizacije, udruge za samozastupanje, kako mi treniramo stručnjake i radimo zajedno sa samozastupnicima na izradi lako razumljivih materijala.
Next, I will speak about experiences from Croatia, about the work that we do in producing easy-to-read materials, how we educate professionals, and how do we work together with self-advocates in making information easy to read.
Ovdje možemo pokazati neke brošure koje smo mi napravili u lako razumljivom obliku.
Okay, so this is the example of brochures that are made by assistants and self-advocates from Association for Self-Advocacy in Croatia.
Prva brošura koju smo napravili je bio Ustav Republike Hrvatske, jer mislimo da je to jako važan ustav i za ljude sa intelektualnim teškoćama.
One of the first brochures, easy to read information on human rights that we did, is the brochure on the rights from the Constitution of the Republic of Croatia, because self-advocates consider that it's very important that they know the basic rights that the state can provide them.
Objavljujemo brošure svaka 3 mjeseca, objavljujemo naš časopis Glas samozastupnika.
Besides writing about human rights, besides publishing brochures, self-advocates also publish 4 times a year the Voice of Self-Advocates. It's a newsletter.
U časopisu pišemo o društvenim temama koje se tiče sve osobe u Hrvatskoj, a i osobe sa intelektualnim teškoćama.
Okay. So the magazine, the newsletter, covers the wide range of topics, and we don't write exclusively about human rights topics which are special for people with intellectual disabilities, but we write about wide range of things. So, for example, one of the topics is work and employment of people with intellectual disabilities, decision-making, violence on people with intellectual disabilities, easy-to-read information, independent living, but we also wrote, for example, about the protection of environment, which is a general topic, but since self-advocates are citizens like any other else, it concerns them also.
Pišemo tako da na časopis piše grupa samozastupnika koji su zaposleni u našoj udruzi.
And newsletters are wrote by self-advocates who are employed in our organization, and they work directly on producing these materials.
U grupi imamo od lakše intelektualne do teže intelektualne suradnja, tako da prvo razgovaramo o toj temi, pa onda pišemo.
The usual way of doing things is that we have a lot of discussions, assistants and self-advocates, when we write about something. And after these discussions, some things are written by assistants, some things are written by self-advocates.
Isto kod stavljanja slika sudjelujemo svi, znači sve radimo od pisanja do naslovnice do stavljanja slika, sve radimo na grupi.
And all other things needed for production and publishing of easy-to-read materials are done in cooperation with, of self-advocates and assistants, like putting pictograms and layout, design, everything.
Većinom koristimo vidite.
We can show a few examples. Ispričali da ima dijelimo.
Djeca se dijelimo u naše grupe sa samo zastupanje koje imamo u 16 gradova samozastupnika.
So all of these materials are available on our webpage, and we use issue platform for publishing of materials. And all newsletters are done in English and Croatian language. So if anybody is interested, you can contact Senada. She will give the content at the end. But right now we can show the example for example, your property. We wrote about the property rights of people with intellectual disabilities and their right to manage and decide on their property. So this is for one example of the voice of self-advocates. Trebamo midget, jel?
Midget je fotografije, kad s nekim slikom ne možemo opisati, onda koristimo midget.
Okay, so we use widget software for
The next piece of the puzzle.
for the pictures, but sometimes we use photo symbols or even photographs when the information is precise, when you don't need to explain the context, then you don't need the schematics, then we use the pictures.
Časopisi ponekad nisu lako razumljivi jer su ponekad natrpani puno informacija. Časopisi.
Newsletters are sometimes not completely easy to understand because we have a lot of information that we want to put. Okay, hoćeš dalje?
Da.
Možeš se.
Tu je Heraklion koji daje trening i pokazuje kako stavljati sličice budućim asistentima koji će raditi za samozastupanje.
This is one of our self-advocates who is showing what we do at one of the trainings. We do a lot of trainings with experts from support services, and self-advocates are the ones who directly participate.
Tu je Snježana kako pomaže isto jednoj stručnjakini kako da napiše easy to read materijal i kako da stavi sličicu. Znači ona testira to.
Self-advocates are also involved in the testing process of easy to read materials that we do, and here we see an example of other self-advocate, Snježana Kanjir, who helps an expert from service provider to produce easy to read materials.
Puno surađujemo sa Tipološkim muzeom gdje smo stavili konvenciju u izložbu konvencije o pravima osoba sa invaliditetom. Nove tehnologije smo samo vidimo.
Okay, so we also have a cooperation with Typological Museum. It's a museum that gathers materials produced by persons with disabilities, various types of disabilities. And this was actually a very interesting exhibition where we used for the first time new technologies. The articles of the convention were hidden in QR codes. So people had to use their cell phones and they would that way get an easy to read version of an article, and it was specially intended for young people because they use smartphones, new technologies a lot, and therefore it proved to be a very interesting exhibition and the way for them to learn something about basic rights of people with disabilities.
Kad smo kod Tipološkog muzeja, trenutno s njima radimo smjernice kako doći do tipološkog i do ostalih muzeja.
And we also cooperate with the same museum on production of easy-to-read guidelines for all other museums in the city of Zagreb.
Surađujemo i sa Ministarstvom za razvoja i s njima smo isto napravili jednu brošuru u lako razumljivom obliku kako dobiti novce.
It's EU fondova.
Iz EU fonda.
We were even contacted by the Ministry of Croatian Ministry of Regional Development and EU funds, and they wanted our organization to produce an easy-to-read or plain text version of their guidelines on the usage of EU funds and financing programs from the European Union.
Nažalost, mnoge javne službe i institucije i obrazovane programe i dalje ne pružaju lako razumljive materijale.
Unfortunately, a lot of public services, institutions, or educational programs still do not provide easy-to-read information.
Ovdje znači da nas čeka veliki zagovarački posao.
And this means that we have a big advocacy task in front of us.
Na kraju naglasila bi važnost korištenja novih komunikacijskih tehnologija koje nam mogu pomoći. Da budemo što više neovisni.
And at the end, I would also like to emphasize the importance of using new ICT technologies that can be great help of us.
Trebamo ih koristiti na sve moguće načine kako bi nam pomogli u stvaranju pristupačnog svijeta oko nas.
And we should use them in all ways possible to make them work in our advantage, to make the world accessible for everyone.
Ako ima neko pitanje, ja sam tu.
Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to respond.
Thank you very much, Senada. I think it's really powerful to understand that easy to read is not just about education, about learning. It's something that is happening in the wider world with people, adults with intellectual disabilities, changing the world and acting as active European citizens to take us forward to an inclusive future. And I think that is a fantastic example of the range of work that has been done. And it's a role model for our learners as they learn using easy-to-read materials. Can I ask if anybody has any questions or comments, please? Yes, firstly.
I only want to say that a small country like Croatia doing such a great work. I don't want to forget one thing. The interpreter is doing a superb job. I'm jealous. I wish I could do the same thing.
Thank you very much.
We usually forget the interpreters, unfortunately.
This is a team, isn't it? A team in action.
Ne čitam ja, mi ne možemo bez vas, asistenti ne mogu bez nas. I to je ta suradnja.
Yes, Senada says that self-advocates cannot do without assistance, and even we cannot do without self-advocates. So easy to read, we are codependent.
It's a very good
Symbiotic relationship. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Maureen.
Maureen ima pitanje.
Maureen.
Yeah, just a reflection on
Refleksija, razmišljanja.
how easy to read has been such a powerful tool, and I think Senada's presentation shows us how a self-advocacy association has used the standards and used this approach to take on society and challenge the barriers to achieving their rights. And I think that we need to think about how we do this then with other media, because this was designed for written communication. But it is still easy to read and understand. It isn't just about reading, it's about making the content understandable. So how do we describe the multimedia easy to access? I think we need a different term so we don't lose the power of easy to read and understand text.
Yes.
Because text is still very important. It's just very important. It's even important in the digital world. So how do we add in the sound and picture and moving images and all of the variety of methodology that we heard in the excellent presentations this morning, and get the same kind of power that we can take it? And how do we talk about standards? And how do we use the new power of all of these ways of communicating, multiplied to use the mathematics to the power of something because of all of the new ways of communicating, to remove even more barriers more spectacularly and more quickly? So I don't know if I'm making myself clear. But
I think it's a great question, and it is a question that we will start to answer in our next session, where self-advocates from the UK who work as easy to read and easy to understand volunteers and professionals will share in short presentations the work they are beginning to do. It won't fully answer your question, but I think it is the first start to answering this challenging question. What would you say? Would you know?
Ja bih samo rekla da se ja sam iznenađena sam obrazovanjem o čovjek koji je prije nas govorio, i mi smo u Hrvatskoj nudili institut materijala našem ministru obrazovanja i nisu nas uopće htjeli slušati ili odazvati na naše sastanke.
Što misliš o ovome što Lisa kaže, upotrebi nove terminologije koja bi obuhvatila sve? Da ne vežemo samo ovako razumljivost uz pisani materijal, jer neke stvari ljudi ne razumiju.
Da bi trebalo.
Što misliš o tome?
Da bi trebalo dobro razmisliti o tome i testirati na samozastupnicima. Znači, kad se to radi, treba se stvoriti nova grupa samozastupnika koja bi to testirala i radila.
Da razumiješ što znači termin?
Da, kako će se to zvati.
Okay. So Senada would like to refer to Vasily and would like to compare Croatia's experience. That we offered our services and materials to the Ministry of Education, but we got no response and no interest from the ministry at all. So we didn't manage to get in the public education system. So Senada is actually amazed by the work that you do in Greece. And the second question to Maureen, actually I replied to Maureen's comment. Yes, definitely, we should expand on the comprehension of the easy to read and understand. And what Senada says that we would then need a completely new group of self-advocates that would test and test the ideas that we have about making the definitions and understanding of easy to read in the context of new technologies.
Perfect. Yeah, well, thank you, because I think in a minute we're going to start to meet
ćemo
some of
se
those
sa njima tu
self-advocates.
početi susretati, tako da početi razgovarati.
But we must expand
Morat ćemo
the
širiti,
group to include all the countries of Europe.
tako da
I
uključimo
think-
i sve.
I feel a grant application coming on
Mislim da
for the European
aplikacija.
Commission.
Okay.
Thank you very much.